One of my subs suggested I analyze the movie Poor Things. Since I haven't seen it and I don't want to, I can only go by the trailer and other people's reviews. And from what I've seen, it's a cross that is burning on my lawn. This is a man-hating film, one of the many that are out there now, where basically it's, guess what? It's a version of Frankenstein's monster, only that's female, and this female is not ugly, and she does not get abandoned by Frankenstein. She lives the lap of luxury. She acts like a complete asshole, and the men in the film get disrespected. So this is a cross burning on my lawn. Now, we'll get into the trailer to see what they show here, right? And by the way, this film is going to portray men as groomers. So it's a complete smear job to men.
Lord, experimenting person. I seek outings and adventures.
See, she's bragging herself up. See, I'm a flawed person. She lives adventures. She has high status men chasing her.
Bella's so much to discover.
There's sex involved, of course. And of course, she's wearing a mini skirt in an era where all the women are wearing skirts down to their ankles. So she gets to do what she wants, right? This is what feminist liberation is. It's living the lap of luxury and having zero limitations on your behavior, on your bad behavior, and acting out any way you like. And men are supporting you. See this lifestyle? This character's not work for a living. She is leeching off a man.
You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
So this average looking woman who can barely walk is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. Yeah, this is a self-insert female fantasy, right? She slaps him in the face, so she insults him. Very typical. Straight out of any old romance novel.
I am finding being alive fascinating.
Bella.
Why keep it in my mouth if it is revolting?
Yeah, see what I mean? She has no manners. She has no social skills. And this is a good thing, right? This is just a typical Karen, acting out in society.
I must go punch that baby.
And she speaks, by the way, for what a lot of women actually think about babies. They do not love them. There is no mother instinct. She says, there's a baby who's annoying me, and I'm going to attack it. That is actual real life women too, by the way.
Everything, not just the...
Oh, wow. Wow, that was... This film is going to be full of crisis and conflict, everyone. It's going to be her living the life of Riley. This is quite the Frankenstein monster film.
good. But degradation,
Shall we sing?
horror, sadness,
Bella!
then we can know the world. And when
Yep, there's her multiple male interests that are all going to swarm after her.
we know the world,
Also, she can't dance. A lot of women can't dance in real life, so they like this too. And she gets to be a complete lunatic in front of everyone. No consequences. So, yep, this is a complete feminist film for the modern day woman. Now, let's get into reviews. I'll use this young lady, put Woodland in, because her take review was the least pretentious. One thing about Black women, I find they don't know enough to be, they don't lie very well, right? They're too open about what they actually think. So let's get into this.
Oh, I saw Poor Things. So according to Google, Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things is brought back to life by an unorthodox scientist. A young woman runs off with a lawyer on a whirlwind adventure across the continent. Free from the prejudices of her times,
I'm going to translate. free from the prejudice of time. In other words, she gets to act any way she wants. No consequences. No limitations on her behavior whatsoever.
She grows steadfast in her purpose to stand for equality and liberation.
Now, equality, by the way, everyone, means, let's bring this up here, as you can see, equality means living the life of luxury on a man's dime and acting any way she likes. That's liberation to women, by the way. So
just no, this is what it's really about. After a woman, played by Emma Stone, throws herself off a bridge, Dr. Godwin, played by Willem Dafoe, is like a Frankenstein-type character, and he takes the woman's body back to his lab and takes the fetus's brain and replaces it and puts it into the woman's body.
now, this is to smear him as a groomer. And yet, actually, he's a hero. He gave the child a second chance. The mother, she killed herself, right? She didn't wait till the baby was born and then do herself in. No, the baby is just a part of her body. That's the way she saw the baby. And when she killed herself, she was going to take the baby with her. So this guy, that is Frankenstein, he realized there's no point in bringing her back to life because she'd just be depressed and kill herself again. She was a waste of space. So he rescued the child and gave her a second chance. He's a hero.
Yeah, you heard me correctly. A fetus brain put into an adult woman's body.
Yeah, you see, and this woman who's going to pretend that she's not like this, she has trouble with this film. She's smearing the guy as a groomer as well. See, this is a cross burning on your lawn, guys, this film. It is smearing male nature as pedophiles, or trying to. But because it's feminist made, it fails. Frankenstein, played by William Dafoe, comes off as a hero. He rescued a child from a mother who was going to kill it.
Sorry? What? And from then on, it's just about how every man wants to take advantage of her and imprison her.
No. Imprison her. This is what she means by imprisonment, right? Living the life of luxury off a man's dime. This character does not work for a living, everyone. This is a bum. This person has no social skills. She has no talent. She's a bad person. And yet she's being taken care of by men. So that's their idea of being held down by men, right?
Honestly, this movie is very uncomfortable. And when I went into the movie and I would ask other
It's
people,
uncomfortable because it shows a mirror to your face, lady, and you don't like what you see. It was made for you, and you think, well, this doesn't make me look very good.
people that watched the movie, they said, oh, it's just a really weird comedy. Yeah,
Of course, going to say that because they don't want to admit that they're man haters. They want to bury their heads from the obvious message of this. So they just say it's a weird comedy, even though there's no comedy in it. There's nothing funny in any of these scenes.
it has its funny moments. It's just very uncomfortable because it has a lot of nudity and a lot of sex and just
Yep. Women really love sex, right? There she is orgasming. This is what the women want to see, right? And by the way, Woodland, this is why pornography, no matter how much is bashed, will never disappear, because women love their pornography and it's not going anywhere. It's only bashed because men get into it. Because you see by this movie, women love their porn.
knowing that her mindset is of a child,
She's a child that has sex with grown men willingly. Not willingly, she initiated it. The one I showed there, she initiated it. And she was rubbing one out. She's quite the child.
very uncomfortable, and it's
And
like
she's also a child who wants to punch babies in the face. I've never seen any little girls talk like that.
you just don't even want to watch. The entire time my jaw was on the floor. I don't know. It was really,
So, wow, you didn't know how to take a hate film, eh? Hmm.
it was not just like a weird comedy. It's just a different story. With that being
It's
said,
not a different story. It's just the same old story. This is straight out of romance novels, lady. The only difference is that the female characters are assholes now. The old romance novels, she was a good person that had all these high status men chasing her. Now she's a complete asshole. That's the only change.
I already know that this movie is going to sweep the Oscars. I mean, the set design and the costume design was
That's not what's doing it, though. It's Hollywood is feminist controlled. It's a feminist film, and the man bashing has been everywhere. The Barbie movie has done well for itself. That's why it's going to gain Oscars. Because this is a shit film, and you're going to admit it. You know what? You're going to admit it later on that this film, nothing happened in it. There's no crisis. There's no conflict. There's nothing interesting going on. There's no character arc. Nothing.
absolutely incredibly beautiful, and the cinematography was also very much well done. And you know how
That's why she's talking about the set designs and the choreography and all this business. Because the story is shit. It's a hate movement story. It can't be made into something good.
filmmakers can be. Oh, this prestigious film, and look at the sewing in that dress and the color correction and
Lady, that's what you've been bragging up because there's nothing there otherwise.
the blues with the yellows and how that's opposite of the color scale.
Yeah, like I said, and this is what women need to liberate themselves from, right? Let's say this right here, the lap of luxury, which they want to live in. That's what they're trying to get away from, but they never do.
With the yellows and how that's opposite of the color scale and how the camera moved in this direction and the lenses that they used. So I already know that the Oscars, they're gonna sweep the Oscars no matter how weird and crazy this story was. So Emma Stone
Or how disgusting it is.
plays our leading lady, Bella Baxter, and she does very well with depicting the different ages and phases that she has to go through. As a nanny myself, I work with a lot of kids, and specifically 2 and 3-year-olds. So she did really well with like the body movements because kids really tend to walk with their body and their arms are very limp. And she did really well with that because we don't find out that her brain was switched with the fetus until about like 15 minutes in. And so
Like I said, Frankenstein was a hero in this film. He rescued that child from his mother who was going to kill her, and he gave her a life of luxury.
I could tell, like, just by her acting, I could tell by the walking and what she was doing.
And you're talking about a young woman who wasn't capable of anything. She didn't work for a living. She didn't add anything to her society. She wasn't a nice person.
I even turned to my friend and was like, I was like, this is what I have to deal with at work every day. And then when he explained, oh yeah, they switched brains, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And she was very much a 2-year-old. Emma will definitely get nominated for an Oscar, and I wouldn't be surprised if she won because this was a very deep and troubled role that required this kind
There's
of
no depth to this role. There's no depth to this role. This is just a role about a complete narcissistic asshole who lived off men, was completely entitled, never changed through it. You admitted yourself nothing happened in the film. There was no character arc. She's just a nasty person who gets chased around by men who get disrespected. This is a cross burning on my lawn.
prestigious acting. The only other Oscar I think should be given out to is Mark Ruffalo. He played Duncan Weddingbird, who was a cunning man that ran away with Bella just to take advantage of her.
Well,
Ruffalo
he didn't take advantage of her, right? This guy's in a tuxedo, right? He's high status. He probably had women that were suitors for him that wanted to be with him. No, he had options, and of course he chose this bottom of the barrel, right? So it's a female fantasy. He didn't take advantage of anyone. She doesn't work for a living. She doesn't offer this guy anything. She slapped him in the face. She can't dance. She's crude. She's the one who's manipulating him.
Flo did so well making me hate this character, and not because he was intimidating or scary like Homelander, but it was because he was so pathetic.
Exactly. It's a smear on men. Men are groomers and we're pathetic, right? This is the new feminist film. This is why you have a discomfort to it, because you want to bash men, but at the same time, you can't enjoy the film because if men are chasing you or pathetic, it doesn't give you the same high
He reminded me of men
as if the guys were worthwhile, right?
that date women that are like 10 years younger than them because
Okay, everyone told you this woman who's complaining about this is showing your true colors. She's going to bash Leonardo DiCaprio just because he dates women who are younger than him. She has the exact same attitude. I don't know if she's officially a feminist or not, but all women have the same attitude towards men.
he reminded me of men that date women that are like 10 years younger than them because they know that they can manipulate them. I'm talking to you, Leo.
No, he's not manipulating anyone. These are grown women, and they're bypassing men their own age to be with the man who built status. By the way, that comical music you're playing to this, swap it out for Flight of the Valkyries, because this guy is actually succeeding in a way guys wish they could. He has a harem of young women that are in the prime of their life, that are gorgeous, that he can actually spend some time with. But he also doesn't keep them around because he knows what they're about. He knows they don't love him for himself. Again, they're bypassing men their own age because he's got status. It's his status that they love. So they're the ones who are trying to manipulate him. The fact that he gets rid of them at a certain age just shows you that he's not going to be manipulated. By the way, thanks for showing your true colors.
But what made it so good is that when Bella's mind started to grow, as one does, she still left him and saw how pathetic.
She left him, then how come she's still living in a life of luxury? How come she's still dressed in finery and living in a mansion? She doesn't work for a living, lady. She never contributed to her society at all. She's leeching off daddy, that's why. She's leeching off daddy. She's leeching off a man. So if daddy was out of the picture and she had no money, she'd be jumping onto this loser. This loser here, right? So what all this is female fantasy where they don't have to labor. They don't have to have any good qualities. They don't have to change and become better. There's no self-improvement. They can be complete scumbags, and they'll be chased by these upper class men, and they can have the enjoyment of discarding them. Remember, these love stories aren't about getting the guy. They're about discarding the guy. The guy chases and he gets discarded. Yeah.
He was, and saw that how he was trying to manipulate her and imprison her just like
Imprison her, right. Imprison her like your father, right? Giving her an easy life where she doesn't have to work for a living. Please save it.
like her mother's mind saw before her. Does that make sense? It's really wild. But anyways, back to Mark.
Her mother, if it was about liberation, her mother could have just left the husband and got a job. But she'd rather die than than work for a living. Right? So
He did really well, and I really love this character. So I really do see him winning a supporting actor role, but I don't think he's gonna get it because Willem Dafoe was also in this.
I don't give a shit about the Oscars, because that's not what this film analysis about. So we're going to get past that.
When, because this character was very one note. He was barely in the movie, and I've seen Willem do this character before. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but obviously the role was needed, but it was okay. All in all, be wary of this movie. I wish that this movie
Be wary why.
premise was spoiled for me, because I had no idea what this movie was going into it, and it was the longest 2.5 hours of my life.
Holy shit. 2.5 hours of a hate film. A hate film towards men. And you found it uncomfortable. Can you imagine what us guys would go through if we were forced to sit there?
I think it was 2.5 hours, because I was like, man, this movie is long. I didn't feel how long it was until like the last 30 minutes. So it was paced well, but then I was like, all right, I'm ready for it to be over because it's so uncomfortable. But it was like
Why is it uncomfortable? She can never explain really why.
a slice of life. Is that weird to categorize it as a slice of life?
In other words, nothing happened, everyone. What I say in an earlier video of mine, it was a discussion about making films. And the guy said, no, if you don't want to bore your audience, it's got to have conflict or crisis, or both. This is a feminist fantasy. The female character is not going to have any conflict. She's not going to go through any crisis. She's not going to have any character arc, because that would suggest she needs to change. She's not going to overcome in anything. She's going to live the life of Riley, have men throw themselves at her, and she's going to discard them. That's why she's calling it a slice of life. Nothing happens in this film. So she's admitting it. This film is, well, I can't call it a nothing burger because there is something there. It's a hate film. It's a cross burning on my lawn.
Because I didn't really get anything from it. There wasn't really a lesson learned. You're just seeing this part of this woman's life.
There was a lesson learned. You even admitted it. That men are groomers and pedos, right? And they're pathetic. And awful women are good just for being female. That was the message of this film.
And it's an insane life and an insane premise. And, I understand.
There's no insane. If it's an insane premise or insane life, then there's a lot of women who are living it. I mean, all this character is, this poor thing, all she is this. She's the average Karen being pulled over. You want to see this type of character? Just type in cops versus Karens. The only difference is that this Karen, is too high up to be pulled over by the cops. So she gets to act like a complete savage in the upper crust, in high status arenas. She gets to act like a complete animal and no consequences, right? She gets to spit out her food and punch babies. So, of course, this film made you uncomfortable because the message was there. And, of course, you said there was no message. There was a message. You just can't admit what the message is.
Understand why it's going to be in the Oscar nominations, because we don't have movies like this anymore where it's so...
You're full of shit, lady. We have movies like this all the time. I made a video talking about that disgusting man-hating film called Men. It's the newest trend.
Like left and groundbreaking and something that's really new.
So a KKK film is groundbreaking. That's good. Okay.
New and something that's never been done before.
So I want to say soap opera, but no, it's a romance novel is brand new and it's never been done before. Like I said, the only difference between the old romance novels and this one is that the main character is an asshole. She's a troglodyte. That's the only difference, lady. That's the only new thing now.
So I do appreciate that part of it. It's really, really hard to rate this movie and give it a number. But if I
I can easily rate it. It's 0 out of 10. I do not give any points to crosses burning on my lawn.
were to by like from a film standard, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Cinematography, set design, costume, acting, 9 out of
Yeah, they shined this turd really well.
10. Like it's beautifully done. Of course, it's paced well. The script writing is well done. Will I watch this movie again? Nar, will not be watching this movie again. And
You're not going to watch this 9 out of 10 film again?
enjoyment wise, as in like rewatchability, 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. It just a fun movie that's like, oh my gosh.
2 out of 10. Then it's not 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's a crap movie. If you never watch again, it's a crap movie. But it's fun, right? This is a fun film where nothing interesting happened. And some woman is a complete troglodyte. And men get treated like shit. And our reputations are smeared. That's your idea of fun. Yep. What I tell you guys, the average woman is a feminist.
No. I'm good. If I had went my whole life now watching this movie, I would have been fine. Like that's how I would also put it. But as a movie snub and watching movies, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. So yeah. Anyways, let me know if you watch Poor Things. I really want to know your rating on it and what you thought of the movie. And
You do not want to know what I'm thinking. You
thought of it as a comedy, or I want to know your thoughts. So let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe. We're super
Well, no, thank you, lady. No, thank you. Oh, God. I chose this woman here because I've started watching a couple other reviews, and they were completely pretentious. Completely pretentious. This woman, she didn't know enough not to admit what this film is. It's a hate movement made film. It's a hate movement dog turd. It's a cross burning on my lawn, lady. That's what it is. And that's the kind of respect again. I give it the same respect that you would if you saw a cross burning on your lawn. That's what I think of it. But you think this is a fun film because the cross is on my lawn. And that says everything I need to know about you. See you around.